In an increasingly interconnected world, the internet has become a vital space for communication, information sharing, and social interaction. Yet, this digital landscape is facing a growing threat: national firewalls. These sophisticated systems, implemented by governments worldwide, act as digital borders, controlling the flow of information in and out of a country's online space. While often justified on the grounds of national security or cultural preservation, national firewalls raise serious concerns about internet freedom and the future of online communication. National firewalls represent a significant shift in how governments approach internet governance. They signify a move away from the internet's original decentralized structure, where information flowed freely across borders. Instead, these firewalls enable governments to exert greater control over their citizens' online activities, limiting access to information and shaping online narratives. This trend has sparked debate about the balance between security and freedom in the digital age, a debate with profound implications for human rights and global communication. The rise of national firewalls is driven by a complex interplay of factors. Governments may cite concerns about cybersecurity, terrorism, or the spread of misinformation as justifications for implementing these systems. In some cases, national firewalls are used to suppress dissent, censor political opposition, or control access to information that challenges official narratives. Understanding the motivations behind these digital walls is crucial for comprehending their impact on internet freedom and the rights of citizens. The increasing prevalence of national firewalls raises critical questions about the future of the internet. Will we move towards a more fragmented online world, where access to information is determined by geographical boundaries? Or can we find ways to protect both national security and the fundamental right to freedom of expression online? These are questions that demand urgent attention from policymakers, technologists, and citizens alike. National firewalls provide governments with powerful tools to control online speech and shape the information landscape within their borders. By filtering and blocking specific websites, social media platforms, or even keywords, governments can effectively limit access to dissenting voices, independent news sources, and information that challenges official narratives. This control over the flow of information can have a chilling effect on free speech, discouraging citizens from expressing dissenting views or accessing a diversity of perspectives. One of the primary mechanisms through which governments control online speech is through content filtering. National firewalls can be programmed to block access to websites or online platforms based on their content, URL, or keywords used. This allows governments to target specific websites or social media platforms that are deemed politically sensitive, critical of the government, or otherwise undesirable. The criteria for blocking content can be broad and vaguely defined, leaving room for arbitrary censorship and the suppression of legitimate expression. In addition to content filtering, national firewalls can also be used to monitor and track citizens' online activities. By analyzing internet traffic passing through the firewall, governments can gain insights into citizens' browsing habits, online communications, and social media interactions. This data can be used to identify individuals who access prohibited content, express dissenting views, or engage in activities deemed suspicious by the authorities. Such surveillance capabilities raise serious concerns about privacy violations and the potential for targeting individuals based on their online activities. The use of national firewalls to control online speech has profound implications for democratic values and the exercise of fundamental freedoms. When governments have the power to dictate what citizens can and cannot access online, it undermines the free flow of information, limits political discourse, and creates an environment of fear and self-censorship. Protecting internet freedom requires pushing back against these restrictive measures and advocating for a digital space where diverse voices can be heard and critical information can flow freely. Pakistan's recent forays into internet regulation provide a stark example of how national firewalls are being used to control online speech and shape the digital landscape. In recent years, Pakistan has implemented increasingly sophisticated measures to filter and block online content, raising concerns about censorship and the shrinking space for dissent in the country. These actions have drawn criticism from human rights groups and sparked debate about the balance between national security and internet freedom in Pakistan. One notable development in Pakistan's internet regulation was the implementation of the Pakistan Citizen Protection Against Online Harm rules in 2020. These rules granted the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, PTA, broad powers to regulate social media companies and censor online content deemed unlawful or against the glory of Islam. The rules were widely criticized for their vague language, potential for abuse, and lack of transparency, raising concerns about their impact on freedom of expression and the right to information. Pakistan's efforts to control online speech extend beyond social media platforms. The country has a history of blocking access to websites and online services based on their content, including news websites, human rights organizations, and platforms that host dissenting voices. These blocking measures, often implemented without clear legal justification or due process, have raised concerns about arbitrary censorship and the suppression of legitimate expression. The government's justification for these actions often centers around national security concerns, the protection of cultural values, or the prevention of hate speech. Pakistan's journey into internet regulation highlights the challenges and complexities of balancing security concerns with the protection of fundamental freedoms in the digital age. While governments have a legitimate interest in protecting their citizens from online harms and safeguarding national security, these objectives should not come at the expense of fundamental rights. Striking this balance requires transparent and accountable mechanisms for internet regulation, grounded in the principles of human rights and the rule of law. Deep Packet Inspection, DPI, is a sophisticated technology that lies at the heart of many national firewalls, enabling governments to monitor and control internet traffic with unprecedented granularity. Unlike traditional firewalls that primarily examine the source and destination of internet traffic, DPI delves deeper into the actual content of data packets flowing through the network. This allows authorities to identify, categorize, and potentially block or reroute traffic based on specific keywords, phrases, or even images embedded within the data. The implementation of DPI involves installing specialized hardware and software at key points along a country's internet infrastructure. These DPI systems intercept and analyze data packets in real time, comparing their contents against pre-configured rules and filters. If a match is found, indicating the presence of prohibited content or suspicious activity, the DPI system can take various actions, including blocking the data packet, redirecting it to a different server, or logging the communication for further investigation. The ability of DPI to analyze the content of internet traffic gives governments unprecedented control over online communications. By setting specific rules and filters, authorities can target a wide range of online activities, from accessing specific websites and social media platforms to using certain messaging apps or even searching for particular keywords. This level of control raises significant concerns about privacy violations, as governments gain the ability to monitor and potentially censor citizens' online activities based on the content of their communications. The use of DPI for internet censorship and surveillance is not without its critics. Privacy advocates argue that DPI represents a significant intrusion into users' online privacy, as it allows governments to intercept and analyze the content of their communications without their knowledge or consent. Furthermore, the broad scope and potential for abuse of DPI raise concerns about its impact on freedom of expression and the free flow of information online. Social media platforms have become primary targets for government control through national firewalls. As platforms for public discourse, news dissemination, and social mobilization, social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube play a crucial role in shaping public opinion and facilitating civic engagement. However, this influence has also made them targets for governments seeking to control online narratives, suppress dissent, and limit the spread of information that challenges official accounts. National firewalls employ various methods to target and control social media platforms. One common approach is to block access to specific platforms altogether, preventing users within the country from accessing or using the services. This can be achieved by blocking the platform's website, IP addresses, or DNS servers, effectively making the platform inaccessible to users within the country's digital borders. Such blanket bans can have a significant impact on freedom of expression, limiting access to information and disrupting online communities. In other cases, governments may opt for more targeted approaches to control social media. This can involve using DPI to monitor social media traffic, identifying and filtering specific keywords, hashtags, or user accounts associated with sensitive topics or dissenting views. By selectively blocking or throttling access to certain content or accounts, governments can manipulate the information landscape on social media, promoting favorable narratives while suppressing dissenting voices or critical perspectives. The targeting of social media platforms by national firewalls raises important questions about the future of online communication and the role of these platforms in society. As governments increasingly seek to assert control over the digital sphere, social media companies face growing pressure to comply with local regulations, even if it means compromising user privacy or enabling censorship. This tension between government control and the principles of a free and open internet is likely to intensify in the coming years, shaping the future of online communication and its impact on society. The implementation of national firewalls and internet censorship measures comes at a significant human cost, impacting individuals, communities, and societies in profound ways. By limiting access to information, suppressing dissenting voices, and controlling online narratives, censorship erodes fundamental freedoms, hinders social progress, and undermines the very fabric of open and democratic societies. One of the most immediate impacts of internet censorship is the restriction of access to information. National firewalls can prevent citizens from accessing independent news sources, human rights information, and a diversity of perspectives on critical issues. This information deficit can leave citizens ill-equipped to participate in informed debate, hold their governments accountable, or make well-informed decisions about their lives. Moreover, censorship can hinder academic research, limit cultural exchange, and stifle innovation by restricting access to knowledge and ideas. Beyond limiting access to information, internet censorship also has a chilling effect on freedom of expression. When individuals fear that their online activities are being monitored, their communications censored, or their voices silenced, they are less likely to express dissenting views, engage in critical debate, or challenge official narratives. This self-censorship can create an environment of fear and conformity, stifling creativity, innovation, and the open exchange of ideas that are essential for a thriving society. The human cost of internet censorship extends beyond individual rights and freedoms. By controlling the flow of information and suppressing dissent, censorship can exacerbate social divisions, fuel misinformation, and hinder efforts to address societal challenges. When citizens are denied access to a diversity of perspectives and the opportunity to engage in open and informed debate, it becomes more difficult to find common ground, build consensus, and work collaboratively towards a better future. The implementation of national firewalls and internet censorship measures is not limited to a specific region or political system. Instead, it's a global phenomenon, with governments around the world increasingly turning to these technologies to exert control over the online sphere within their borders. While the motivations and methods may vary, the underlying trend is clear. Governments are seeking greater control over the flow of information online. China's Great Firewall stands as perhaps the most well-known and extensive example of a national firewall. This sophisticated system of filters, blocks, and surveillance mechanisms effectively creates a separate internet for Chinese citizens, restricting access to a vast array of foreign websites, social media platforms, and online services. The Chinese government justifies these measures on the grounds of maintaining social stability, promoting national unity, and protecting its citizens from harmful content. However, China is far from the only country implementing national firewalls and internet censorship measures. From Russia to Iran, Turkey to Thailand, governments around the world are employing similar tactics to control online narratives, suppress dissent, and limit access to information. These efforts often target independent news websites, social media platforms, messaging apps, and any online content deemed critical of the government or its policies. The motivations behind these national firewalls vary depending on the political context and the specific objectives of the government in question. In some cases, governments may cite national security concerns, such as the prevention of terrorism or the protection of critical infrastructure, as justification for internet censorship. In other instances, governments may use censorship to silence political opposition, suppress dissent, or control the narrative around sensitive events. The increasing prevalence of national firewalls and internet censorship measures raises concerns about the future of the internet and its potential fragmentation into a splinternet. This term refers to the idea of a fractured internet, where national borders extend into the digital realm, dividing the online world into separate and distinct spheres of influence. In such a scenario, access to information, online services, and even the ability to communicate with others would be determined by one's geographical location and the political climate of their country. The emergence of the splinternet has significant implications for the future of global communication, collaboration, and innovation. A fragmented internet could hinder the free flow of information, limit cross-cultural exchange, and impede the development of new technologies and ideas. It could also exacerbate existing inequalities, creating a digital divide between those with access to an open and unrestricted internet and those whose online experiences are heavily censored and controlled. The implications of the splinternet extend beyond the digital realm, impacting international relations, trade, and even the balance of power on the global stage. As countries assert greater control over their online spaces, it could lead to increased tensions, mistrust, and conflict. A fragmented internet could also hinder economic growth and innovation, as businesses face barriers to accessing global markets and collaborating with partners across borders. Preventing the emergence of a fully fragmented splinternet requires a concerted effort from governments, civil society organizations, and technology companies to uphold the principles of a free and open internet. This includes advocating for internet freedom as a fundamental human right, promoting international cooperation on internet governance, and developing technologies that can circumvent censorship and protect user privacy. The debate surrounding national firewalls and internet censorship often centers around the need to strike a delicate balance between competing interests: national security, economic prosperity, and the protection of fundamental freedoms. Governments have a legitimate interest in protecting their citizens from online harms, safeguarding national security, and promoting economic growth. However, these objectives should not come at the expense of fundamental rights, such as freedom of expression, access to information, and privacy. Finding the right balance requires a nuanced approach that recognizes the complexity of the issues at stake. It is essential to acknowledge that national security and economic prosperity are inextricably linked to the protection of fundamental freedoms. A society that respects human rights, fosters innovation, and embraces open dialogue is better equipped to address security threats, promote economic growth, and create a more just and equitable world. One key aspect of striking this balance is ensuring that any limitations on internet freedom are necessary, proportionate, and grounded in law. Governments should only resort to censorship or surveillance measures when absolutely necessary to achieve a legitimate aim, such as preventing imminent harm or protecting national security. Any such measures should be subject to robust oversight mechanisms, including judicial review, to prevent abuse and ensure transparency and accountability. Another essential element is fostering a multi-stakeholder approach to internet governance that includes governments, civil society organizations, technology companies, and individual users. This collaborative approach can help ensure that internet policy decisions are made through an inclusive and participatory process, taking into account the diverse perspectives and interests of all stakeholders. The future of the internet and its ability to empower individuals, connect communities, and drive progress depends on our collective commitment to defending a free and open online space. As governments around the world erect digital walls and seek to control the flow of information, it is more important than ever to push back against censorship, advocate for digital rights, and promote a vision of the internet as a force for good in the world. One crucial step is raising awareness about the dangers of internet censorship and the importance of a free and open internet. Educating ourselves and others about the technical aspects of censorship, the motivations behind it, and its impact on individuals and societies is essential for building a movement to protect digital rights. Sharing information, engaging in critical discussions, and challenging misinformation are all vital aspects of this effort. Another critical action is supporting organizations and initiatives that are working to defend internet freedom and promote digital rights around the world. Numerous organizations are actively fighting censorship, developing tools to circumvent internet restrictions, and advocating for policies that protect online freedoms. By supporting these organizations through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word about their work, we can contribute to the fight for a free and open internet. Finally, we must hold our elected officials accountable for their decisions regarding internet policy. Contacting our representatives, expressing our concerns about censorship and surveillance, and demanding transparency and accountability are essential steps in safeguarding our digital rights. By engaging in the political process, we can help shape policies that protect internet freedom and ensure that the online space remains a platform for free expression, innovation, and progress.